Hello and welcome back to another Anchor Up Devlog. Today in this video I'm going to be sharing with you all of the progress that I have made on my indie puzzle game in the past week. This week I worked on creating the very first boss battle for Anchor Up, which included 1x1 enemies, creating some new environmental weapons, finishing the collection level from the previous devlog, adding some more after report features, level pages just to make level selection a little bit easier, some visual tweaks as well, like lighting and effects, and also a bit at the end about routine as an indie dev. First up, I finished off the collection level from the previous episode, and I started by creating the main animated feature of the level, which was going to be this island with some campers on it. So I created this spit and fire setup, and the fire consists of two different particle effects, the fire itself and then the smoke. Overall I was quite pleased with how the level turned out. I hadn't really tried going with a green skybox and then the forest in one before. Also in this level, the environmental weapons were introduced. These act as regular weapons that are detached from ships, and they fire every 3 turns. This means that the player has to think about the enemies as well as the when to get past some of these weapons. Also, if the player is good enough, they can actually trick some of the ships into following them, and they can also get hit by the cannon. Next up, I started to work on the after report scene, adding in a new tab that kind of tells you if you've unlocked a new weapon, as well as creating 3 new buttons, one to get back to the main menu, one to go to level select, and one to go to next level, which is only there if you have actually completed/won the previous level. I then also fixed some of the UI so it worked on different aspect ratios, which you could see there. I then set up the level selection tabs, which are essentially pages of different levels. So if you've completed the 10 levels that are going to be in a stage, a button at the bottom will appear saying next stage, or next page actually, and then you click it and then it'll be the next kind of area in the game. Next was the visuals and lighting effects, and here is the laser before the change where it was kind of just a line, and then here's it afterwards when I added an emission to the actual material itself, and as you can see it now actually looks like a laser, not just a line. Next, in preparation for the boss battle and just to add drama, I then created this little lightning particle effect. And finally is the boss battle itself. The boss battle is going to work as having a giant octopus being the main kind of, the boss itself, and then having its tentacles be like small weak points, and they are going to act as trying to catch the player and follow them around as if they were an enemy ship. However, these are 1x1, so I had to tweak some of the code a bit, and also create some animation to get the tentacles being really quite creepy. So the way that I did that is not by using the Unity animation system, because I didn't want the tentacles in time. So here you can see on screen if you're interested in how the actual randomness swinging works. As you can see, a boss battle will be at the end of every stage, and this is the end of stage 1. So here is how the final boss battle ended up looking, with the octopus in the middle and all 8 tentacles around the outside. And if the player is able to defeat all 8 tentacles, then a little cutscene will play. I also decided to make it stormy weather because that on its own is already quite dramatic, and I also kind of reverted back to some of the rocks because that also just adds another layer of drama. And after completing this boss battle, the player will unlock the tentacle weapon, which was shown in a previous devlog, but this is kind of how it works anyway. I also then worked on some weapon icons, that's for the grappling hook, and for the tentacle that went through many phases because I asked for some feedback on Discord, and some people were very helpful on creating some different drafts for me, so thank you very much. Next up is the bonus part about routine as an indie dev. Someone in the comments wanted me to go over this last time, so here it is. So, is routine as an indie dev important? Yes, for so many reasons, but this is mainly for solo devs because, well, if you're doing everything yourself or you're doing it in a team, it does definitely lead to kind of different ways of working. So first of all, at the start of every week, what I like to do is actually make a list of all the tasks that I want done by the end of the week. Now, I'm not too strict on myself that I need to complete them, and I usually split most of them down, so like a boss battle can be split into these. And another thing is assigning them a date. This really does help you stick on top of different tasks, and you can spread them out over different days and do multiple in a day, but this really does help to make progress. Speaking in practical timing terms, how many hours a day you want to work will generally be how long you work. Any more time than that leads to burnout, which is a decrease in productivity anyway. Because if you're working for 4 hours a day and doing 2 hours worth of productivity, then just work for those 2 hours. and you should use that amount of time to split your tasks down over a daily, weekly basis. By setting long-term goals as well, you're able to see that all these daily tasks are feeding into the bigger picture. And by seeing that you're making progress towards that bigger picture, this helps with motivation. Also, on the subject of setting long-term goals, you should keep these long-term goals in mind when setting your daily or weekly tasks. This will also help you see what you need to get done to achieve these long-term goals, and the biggest long-term goal is finish the game. Hopefully this bit about task setting and scheduling has given you some ideas about your own projects and about maybe how you can approach other tasks and things like that in game dev. Thank you very much for watching this week's devlog, and if you're interested in supporting the game, then by wishlisting on Steam, that is probably the best way to support the game. And thank you very much for watching. If you have any feedback about the video or the game, please feel free to leave it in the comments down below. Thank you again, and see you in the next devlog.